I can feel your energy pulsating down my spine. Oh, oh. I am not the enemy. No need to run and hide. No, no.
Hey everyone, back with another review, and today I'll be going over the Recess Diplomat, and it looks like so. The Recess Diplomat is the signature yo-yo of multinational and state competitor Colin Beckford, as all of you should know. So as always, I'll be going over 5 different sections of the Diplomat. I'll be going over the history, construction, trick handling, playability, and my personal opinions. So I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, so this review is for people who would like to know a little bit more about the Diplomat, or for any of my returning subscribers or viewers who would like to know my personal opinions and thoughts on the Diplomat. So again, hope you guys enjoy. Alright, so now moving on to the first section, the history section of my review. As all of you know, the Diplomat is the signature yo-yo of multinational and world finalist Colin Beckford. There are a few reasons as to why Colin wanted a yo-yo from Recess International, and I'll tell you why. I recently got in contact with Colin Beckford, just asking him a couple of questions like his inspiration behind the Diplomat, and a couple of things as well. I'll explain his words, sort of the thoughts behind the Diplomat and everything else. Alright, so I'll explain this in exactly the way that Colin messaged me in. So Colin wanted a signature yo-yo because the yo-yos from Recess International were good, but not exactly what he was looking for in terms of his playstyle. He worked on the design for months, and he can definitely say that the Diplomat perfectly fits his style. Almost everyone that Colin talked to about the Diplomat has the same core impression, that the Diplomat is a stable yo-yo with large amounts of power and rim weight as well. Colin said that he wanted a light yo-yo that had large amounts of rim weight, and also he wanted a yo-yo that had a very powerful spin. Pretty much the yo-yos that inspired Colin to make or design the Diplomat is the Barracuda from Duncan Yo-Yos, and the Basilisk and the Palpitation from Turning Point Yo-Yos. So you could pretty much see how the shape is inspired by a lot of Turning Point's yo-yos, since they kind of use a shape similar to this, and how it has a large amounts of rim weight, almost as if where it was a bimetal. Pretty much Colin's main tastes in yo-yos is a yo-yo that has a large amount of rim weight, a yo-yo that can spin for a long time, has a powerful spin rate, and something that's very light and maneuverable on the string. And the Diplomat pretty much embodies all of those specs that Colin wanted in a yo-yo. So as you can pretty much imagine, Colin really had a high standard for what kind of yo-yo he wanted, and I believe, and me personally, I believe that he hit the nail right on the head with the Diplomat. So there you go. Alright, hey everyone, so now moving on to the construction part of the review. Here's an up-close look of the Diplomat. I'll be going over the looks, the engravings, and the specs. Diameter is 56.37 millimeters. The width is 42.70 millimeters. The gap width is 4.50 millimeters. The weight is 64.7 grams. It has a center track bearing, as you can see here, and the response pads is just regular 19 millimeter slim pads. And the material that the Diplomat is constructed of is 7075 aluminum. So, you know, obviously it's a monometal design. Now looking at the looks and the engravings, I really like the gold color that this Diplomat comes in. It has a really shiny look, especially if you polish it a little bit. The engravings at the top says Colin Beckford, and at the bottom it says Recess Diplomat, and it has stars around it, and it's the same for the other side as well. Pretty much all the engravings that I have is just on the outer rims. Everything else has a really classic plain look to it, and that's what I really like about the Diplomat. And the shape, now one of my favorite things about the Diplomat is the shape that it comes in. Now the shape really reminds me of some of Turning Point's yo-yos, such as the Positron or the Positron 2. And as you can see, the shape sort of has a large rims coming tapering from up here to the top of the rim to a sudden dip right here into the gap. And that really aids in pushing a lot of weight to the rims and keeping the center relatively light while the rim's heavy. So it's pretty much mimicking a bimetal design, if I would say so. As you can see, the inner hub sort of has steps right here, I don't know if you can see this, but it has multi steps right here in the inner hub, so meaning that it's really great for finger spins. Now, if the Diplomat was blasted, I would say it would be better for finger grinds and thumb grinds as well. But this is a polished version. So here's what the Diplomat looks like when spinning. So as you can see, it has a really powerful spin when first thrown down, and because of the stability among its large rims, it can really has a lot of lasting power as well. Now I'll be doing a few comparisons with a couple other yo-yos that other people might own. So here is a Shuta. They're both 7075 aluminum. Now the Shuta on the shutter has both the same specs and whatnot. So the diameter is almost identical, with the Diplomat being just slightly larger in diameter. The widths are also almost identical as well, with the Diplomat being just a little bit thinner, I would say. And the weights are much different. The Diplomat is a lot lighter than the Shuta. Here is a Replay Pro. Now the diameter of the Replay is a lot larger, and so is the width. Here's our first base, another recessed yo-yo. Of course, since plastic yo-yos have larger diameters, it's naturally going to have a larger width as well. Here's a bimetal, the pulse fire. The diameter of the pulse fire is a little bit smaller, as you can see. And the widths are just about the same, with the pulse fire being just a tad bit wider. Here is a Big Dipper, another plastic yo-yo, which the diameter is actually a lot bigger, as you can see. So is the width. Okay, and then here's the Kenshin. The Kenshin, as I reviewed in my last one, or the one before I reviewed the Valkyrie, it's a little bit wider, and the diameter of the Kenshin is a little bit smaller as well. The Kenshin is made out of a 7076 aluminum, which is actually a lot stronger than 7075. But yeah. Moving on to the trick handling section. The Diplomat is another one of those yo-yos that are really good for all types of tricks, but I would say that the Diplomat is more suited towards specific type tricks, and I'll get into more detail with that soon. Trick handling section, I'll go over a few subsections, or just the types of tricks that most yo-yoers do nowadays. So such as tag horizontals, grinds, lacerations, whips, all that. Alright, so now in terms of speed. Due to the Diplomat's lightweight feeling and amazing stability, the Diplomat can move through string layers at a very high speed, which, you can see Colin Beckford doing a lot of his speed combos and more faster type tricks. So the Diplomat can definitely handle, speed players or any sort of fast moving tricks that you might have in your arsenal. Now in terms of tech, the Diplomat has a really mid-weight or sort of a mid-size sort of feeling in the hand. Although the diameter is very much well on the oversized sort of area, I would say that it fits really well in the hand, and because of the size of the diameter and the width, it can move through, string layers very easily, and it's very maneuverable as well. And long spinning enough to execute any of those more technical and intricate combos that you might have. Now for horizontals, because of the way that the weight is distributed among the large rims, it's really great for horizontal because it can keep its plane extremely well, and because of the lightweight and its stability for a monometal design, by the way, it can really move through a lot of, really simple or technical horizontal combos that you might have, and it can still come back to your hand with plenty of power to spare. Polished version of the Diplomat, so it's not really, good for finger grinds or thumb grinds, but it actually is pretty decent for finger spins. I was able to pull off a couple finger spins. Not really the best, I would say, because it's polished, but I did heard that that blaster versions are coming in the future, so hopefully those will be a lot better for grinding. But I can tell that a blasted Diplomat would be a lot better because of this little groove right here in the middle of the gap. It sort of like cradles your finger really well for grinds, and it has a large hub area for turns of whips and lacerations. It's pretty good for that as well. I mean, any modern 1A yo-yo can handle whips and lacerations pretty well, but I feel that because of the way that the body is actually designed, lacerations can sort of really, in case if you miss or actually do a laceration trick that's sort of hard. So like for example, if you're doing like a whip trick and then the string hits the rim, it can actually really slide down into the gap and hit it. So that's what I at least think is a advantage towards whip and laceration tricks for this type of shape and body. Alright, so now moving on to the playability section of the review. First, I'd like to remind everyone that what I experience in playing the Diplomat is purely my perspective in yo-yoing, which means that what I find and how the Diplomat plays is different from other people, so it's all subjective. So I would say that the Diplomat has a sort of mixed feeling and play on the string, meaning that due to its material and because of its lightweight, it can play very fast, as I covered in the trick handling section, but also has a sense of solid and stability on the string as well. So it's sort of combined. So for me, I feel that the Diplomat is a really overall light playing yo-yo, meaning that it's really maneuverable through all of my tech tricks. It can really speed through a lot of string layers, and it can pretty much handle anything that requires fast movement or slow movement. It's a yo-yo that can pretty much adapt to anything that you can throw to it pretty much. So again, due to its size, weight, diameter, and really overall its specs, the Diplomat can pretty much handle all the intricate tech that you see a lot of players doing, and it can also handle the high speeds. From talking with Colin Beck for a little bit, he said that he made the Diplomat to perfectly suit his style, and I believe that as well. Through playing and owning this yo-yo and practicing with this yo-yo for West Coast Regionals that just passed, it's a very complete yo-yo, I would say. It can pretty much handle everything. And I would say there's a yo-yo that would suit a lot of styles as well. Pretty much to sum up the play, I would say that it has a very floaty, light, but a tad solid feeling to it as well. Again, as I state in all of my reviews, it's something that you would have to try yourself. I can't really, I can't really say how a yo-yo would play, through the camera and through a screen, but if you ever get a chance to try a Diplomat, you should. I believe that you'll like it, but again, it's all subjective. So I'm just gonna have to leave that up to you guys. Alright, so now moving on to my personal opinions section of the review. So from owning the Diplomat for about a month now and practicing with it for West Coast, I found that the Diplomat is a really easily controlled sort of yo-yo, meaning that my type of tricks, I can really execute them a little bit easier than even on some of my higher end models like the Sleipnir, the Dropnir, other models like that. But I feel that I have a little more precision and a little more control over the Diplomat over higher end models. So that's a really big plus for me. Personally, I really don't have a taste in yo-yos. It's really just how, if I pick up a yo-yo and if I like it, I just like it for how it is. I really haven't developed a taste for I really haven't developed a taste and playability of yo-yos that I like. But I've noticed that, I really like light feeling yo-yos, but also like solid feeling yo-yos. Something that feels more assured and that's more stable on the string, and I feel that the Diplomat really accomplishes that. So another reason why I will probably use the Diplomat from now on, or until I find something else that I like. So for now, I'll use the Diplomat in competition and just for fun. Alright everyone, so I hope you enjoyed my review. Overall thoughts on the Diplomat is that it's a very complete yo-yo. It has the specs, the weight, everything that yo-yo players nowadays look for in, its price, the marketing, the company, the signature player, everything about it is what I like personally. Recommended towards specific sort of players who have more of a faster, maybe speedy, or maybe more faster technical type style. There's new or experienced players who want a 7075 aluminum yo-yo that doesn't cost, you know, over $100, they could, you know, just get the Diplomat. I really don't know how Recess managed to get the price down for a yo-yo with this much performance in it. And I think it's a really amazing feat for them. So, you know, shouts out to Recess International and Colin Beck for managing to do that. I believe that this is a yo-yo that can pretty much attract a lot of people. You know, whether or not you're a speedy or a more techy, intricate type player, or, you know, if you're just a recreational player much like myself who's looking for something different. And I believe that the Diplomat, you know, it pretty much accomplishes that. In conclusion, the Diplomat is pretty much a yo-yo that can be appreciated by a lot of people, I believe. Alright everyone, so I hope you enjoyed this review. I tried to make it as detailed and as entertaining for you guys as possible. So if you have any questions, comments, criticisms, or concerns, post them down in the comment sections below. And if you want me to do any more yo-yo reviews, just list any recommendations that you want me to review down below, but only yo-yos that I have in my collection. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'm out.